You guys have loved the case studies, and so I'm coming back with more today. Today is a real case study of current clients of mine who have a net worth north of $10 million. So if you're hearing that going, I don't have $10 million, you are still going to learn the strategies so that one day you do. But in addition to that, you can retire early. That's why we're having this conversation. I do separate case studies. So if you have $1 million or $2 million and you're going, I want to retire early, can I do it? Go check out those videos, but stay for this video until the end because I'm going to show you how the ultra wealthy pay very little, sometimes even 0% in taxes. So with that being said, a few quick stories, because without these stories, I don't think this analysis is going to resonate as much. And so here's what I want to tell you. I have a few clients that are house rich, cash poor. Now, a lot of you know that phrase, but what it essentially means is you might have a net worth of $10 million. And if you want to retire early, but 9 million of that net worth is locked up in your home and you refuse to sell it because you love where you live, it doesn't mean you're in a great spot to retire early. So you might have a neighbor or a coworker that talks about their net worth. That doesn't tell the whole story. What you need is consistent income, and that's what retirement's all about. And that's why I am so big on talking about early retirement planning, because if you want to retire early, call it in your 50s, which most of you do who are coming to me, or early 60s, you need that income for 40 plus years. None of us know how long any of us are going to live, but the last thing I want is for you to run out of money. That's kind of number one, don't run out of money. Number two is do not leave anything unnecessarily on the table. And that's where, probably to an unhealthy degree, if I'm being honest, that I obsess over this planning. So my clients know this already, and the clients that are going to watch this video, I know they're going to watch, and trust me, I've changed the security names, and they told me that I have permission. So I know you're going to laugh when you see this. But the point of this is when I go through this, there's that phrase, house rich, cash poor. So net worth doesn't tell everything. Now, in addition to that, you have to think about this next phrase, qualified rich, cash poor. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is, assume you're coming to me and you're 53 and you have $3 million and you want to retire tomorrow because you do not love what you do. That's okay. What we want to make sure is that you have income for the next 40 plus years. But what we have to think about is, okay, where's income going to come from? If we're 53 and we can't tap into that 401k without paying that 10% penalty and ordinary income taxes, we have to be strategic and go, are we going to keep working? Are we going to do part-time income? What are we going to do? And so that qualified rich, cash poor, the reason I talk about the phrase on my podcast, early retirement, is because so many people save and invest well. They max out their 401k. They want to retire early. Then boom. They go, well, how am I going to create income? I want to retire early. I need a way to bridge the gap from 53 or 55 or whenever you want to retire until 59 and a half when I can tap into my other accounts. And that's correct. We need a way to bridge that gap. And that's where something called a taxable account or a brokerage or what I'll call the superhero account, because it's actually how you can retire early with confidence. If you don't have one, get on this brokerage account. You're going to see some people get it through inheritance, and you're going to see that in this example today. So with that being said, I don't want you qualified rich, cash poor, where you have everything locked up in a Roth IRA or an IRA or a 401k, but that we have some other assets or some other way to create income, whether it be through a brokerage account or part-time income or XYZ rental income, you name it. So today I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Let's hop right in. Fake names, real people, okay? Harold Sample in Casey Sample. Harold's 54 years old. Casey's 52 years old, okay? Casey has a Roth IRA, and we can zoom in here. I know I want to make it really nice and big for you guys so you can see this. So you can see right here, this is Casey's Roth IRA. It has $615,000. Casey has a rollover IRA. So Casey has a rollover IRA, which means she retired from her, quit her old company and rolled over that 401k into an IRA, okay? Then she has a new 401k, but it hasn't started quite yet, so we don't have it there for her. They have a joint checking account with $19,000 and a high yield savings with $270,000. They're waiting to determine what they want to do with these funds. They also received inheritance of about $4 million, and $1.1 million was already there in their joint account. They have a home worth $1.8 million and a mortgage of $645,000. In addition to that, Harold, he still has his 401k and he has a Roth IRA in addition to that. So the overall net worth is just over 10 million for this client of mine. I'm going to zoom back out. And what you're going to see here is there's a lot of tabs up here. A lot of you have already seen this from my previous videos. We're not going to go through every single one because trust me, you would fall asleep, but you are going to see the value of good planning. So we always are going to reiterate the goals. So once again, this couple, no children, okay? Harold's 54, Casey's 52. what I'll do is I'll go to the goals, and this is once again after I've already had a conversation with them. So when they became a client, before getting into any of this, I needed a clear sense of what they wanted to do for fulfillment, for purpose, you name it. Harold said, I don't know exactly when I want to retire, but I'm thinking around 63 and Casey's 61. I asked why. They said, we want to retire together. So you can customize in this software or any software that you use when you're going to retire. And you can choose the specific month and get fancy with it. They just said, we'd love to be done 2032 together. I said, okay, how much do you want to spend? They said, we don't know, but we do think that we're going to be in the range of $10,000 a month. I said, is that everything you want to spend? They said, yeah, I think $10,000 a month, that would allow us to do everything we want to do. I said, great. I said, what about travel? They said, yeah, we'd love to add travel in addition to this. So travel of $25,000, that would be attractive once we retire for every single year for 15 years. So once a year for 15 years. And they might do something else afterwards, but a lot of you know when you retire early, you have to take into account healthcare. And so it's not exact, but I have clients that are paying as a couple $30,000 a year for healthcare. And it's not fun. No one ever wants to pay it, but the dopey joke is you pay for it when people say, how do you do it? And so I'll tell people, we want to be strategic. Before Medicare starts, it might be $14,000 a month. It could be $5,000 a month. It could be zero, because you can customize the way you create income based on subsidy and other purposes. So when people are doing planning, this is the first thing I'll do. I need a clear sense. Now their income today, Harold brings in $215,000. Casey brings in $83,000. She just started a new job. Social Security for them at age 67, their full retirement age, this is the $2,600 a month. It's unrealistic. And the reason I'm saying it's unrealistic here is a lot of things are going to change before they actually take Social Security. So we like to put it here as a placeholder. And you can see for Casey, $450 a month, this was her own benefit because she didn't work for many, many years, went back to work. And so more than likely, we're going to look into what's called a spousal benefit. I do a whole separate YouTube video and podcast on Social Security maximization. So make sure to check those out if that's of interest to you. Now, in terms of their savings today, Casey's doing a flat $5,000 to her new 401k, and Harold is maxing out. So this is the basics. What are they on track for? What is their plan? And so what I'll always do is I'll go to the retirement tab and say, hey, what are we on track for? And right off the bat, what you're going to see is here we are today. They've got about $8.9 million of actual assets. And what you can see is they're on track for $21 million. And most people go, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. And then they go, wait a second, I don't want to die with $21 million. What if I spent more along the way? Especially this couple, along with most of you, not most of you, I'll say many of you, are reaching out going, hey, I don't want to leave $5 million to heirs or to a children or to charity. I'd rather spend more while I'm here. I'll say, great. What if instead of $10,000 a month, and we're going to go through this, you spent $25,000 every single month? I'm not requiring that this couple does it, but if they did, what you're going to see is right off the bat, are they okay? Well, yeah, they're okay, especially for the next 10 years because they're still working. Then all of a sudden there's $8 million fewer dollars, and the reason for that is quite simple. Is they're spending, and then I'm saying that they're going to pass away at 92 in this example. So now they don't have $21 million, but they have $13 million. So they go, wow, like how much can we spend? Especially, a lot of you can kind of use this scenario for your head, whether you have 10 million or you don't have 10 million, that net worth is irrelevant. What I want you to know is how much do you want to spend? Like what's the most you can spend? And I'm going to give you a dopey joke in a second that's going to bring all of this together. So just stay with me. Let's assume that they said, oh my gosh, this is incredible. $10,000 a month, though, I think that is sufficient for what we want to spend. But healthcare expenses, we don't know what that's going to cost. Let's assume it's $15,000, not $5,000. And you know what, Ari, this is so exciting. We want to retire early, not 63. What about 58 for both of us? And I'll say, great. And actually for Casey, we're going to do 56 because they said they want to retire together. And we still love this idea of spending $25,000 a month, Ari. That's really exciting. And we want to do travel of $25,000. I'm in no business of rosy pictures. I'll tell you, hey, what are you on track for? What are you not? And so all of a sudden, are they still okay? Yeah, they're okay. They're still $5 million fewer dollars, but they're leaving a lot on the table. And then we'll go, well, this assumes investments do really well. What if they don't? And that's what we're going to talk about next, which is how do you invest well? Because if you don't, all of a sudden they're barely making it to 92, where now they did well, they spent a lot of money, and some of you are going, this is exactly what I want it to look like. I don't want to die with 20 million bucks. How can I retire early? So there's this famous book going around, Die with Zero, which if you haven't read it, self-explanatory title, but I love the book, which is the concept that in your 80s and 90s, it's just not worth as much money. because you don't have your time and your energy and your health. So when people are coming to me, I'm going to look at their overall allocation here. Now, what most people do is they'll say, what's your age and what's your risk tolerance? And they'll kind of stop there. I want to look at every single account. So their inherited account. Right now, it's a 60-40 portfolio, meaning 60% equities, 40% fixed income. And here's the exact breakdown. Then other clients come to me and they have a 401k, and it might be very similar. It might also be 60-40. But then they have a Roth IRA, and that Roth IRA might be 100% equities. And you can see the breakdown exactly here. Other clients go, well, I've got a Roth IRA, but I'm investing it different than my spouse is. 35% equity, 65% fixed income. So what you're going to see with this couple is every single account is very different. What we want to make sure is everything is talking to one another. Right now, this couple has a bunch of different accounts, but they're not actually speaking to one another. So what we want to do is go, well, what if we look on the bright side of things and say, what if our investments do really well? I just showed what if it doesn't do well. What if you use one of our portfolios and you have about 80% as your equity allocation? And it's just a sample, but if you're still spending and retiring early like we projected here, well, now there's still fewer dollars, but because you invested well, you're still in a great spot. Now, what I'm going to tell you right now is not because I'm being mean, but this is the graph, everyone right now that you're listening to, this is the graph 99% of people will retire on. I won't let one person retire on this. And it's not because I'm being mean, but if you want to retire early, you need income. And so what you're going to see right here, this is the graph I care about. Okay, this is called the withdrawal rate graph. And when you retire early, we need this income for a very long time. So if this couple is retiring at 58 and 56, they've got healthcare expenses of $15,000 a year each. They want to spend $25,000 a month. They have goals of travel at, $25,000 every single year. They're going to need to take out 5.6% of their portfolio. That's not sustainable forever. The good news is their graph starts to go down, and it goes down to the point where once they're in their late 70s, it's sustainable. I mean, 3.8%, 4%, that's sustainable. But right off the bat, 5.6% is a little higher than I'd like to see. So I'll say, well, what if we temporarily cut expenses? Not forever, but I'm saying, what if expenses were, call it $20,000, okay, instead of 25? I'll go ahead and refresh this, and you're going to see the withdrawal rates, they're going to change. Well, now all of a sudden, their withdrawal rate's not 5.6, but it's actually 4.9%. So that's extremely sustainable. And some of you go, wait a second, isn't that on the high end? And I go, yes, if it kept going up and up and up. But I would rather you spend more money while your energy and health is in its optimal state. And this is the graph I care about because it tells me how much income I need to send you. Now, when markets are doing really well, I'm telling my clients, I need you to give yourself a bonus. Go spend more money. Your withdrawal rate is sustainable. In other years, I'm saying, you know what? This is not the year to go spend extra money. So this is one way that I look at income generation, okay? The next thing I want to show you is tax planning. This is a big aspect of planning, and I'll go over it time and time again, but this is their tax picture over the next 40 years. Here they are right now. They have a healthy income, and everything you're looking at right now, guys, I know it's a lot on the screen, but it's important that this resonates. This is their income. So this blue, you can see the blue fat that's being filled up. This is essentially the tax brackets they're filling up. And every single line here has a tax bracket that you can see. So what we want to do is I want to make it a little bigger for you guys so it's easy to see. But I want to now show you, here's their income, and the income is the blue once again, and then it drops. Now, it doesn't drop entirely. And it doesn't drop entirely because income's still going to have to come from somewhere. So is it their joint account? Are we paying long-term capital gains tax? Are we paying other taxes? A whole separate conversation for that. But what you want to see here is your income drops. So here's a couple that's working and working. They retire. And once they retire, their income's lower. And then all of a sudden, it jumps back up. And if a lot of you are probably guessing what's going to happen here, RMDs. So when the RMDs jump back up, all of a sudden, they're going to be in a higher tax bracket than they even want to be in. So the benefit of doing things like Roth conversions that I talk about, I'm going to zoom out for a second so you guys can see this. What if we fill up certain tax brackets? And you're going to see if we fill up the 12% bracket, I'm going to zoom in here, it doesn't make much of a difference. In fact, it adds $0 more to the plan. And why is that? Well, the reason is they're already filling that up whether they want to or not. And that's the green line here. That's that 12 and 15% bracket. Pro tip, our tax brackets are changing in 2026, so just be aware of that. Now, what if we go one step further and we fill up the 22% bracket? Let's go up here. Okay, that certainly helps. That adds $135,000 more, but can we do better? And so we'll take it a step further. And we'll go back to this, go, what if we fill up the 24% bracket? Well, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I mean, that's $650,000 more dollars. In the green here, guys, this is the fake income. So my dopey example, and I always do them in dopey ways like this because it's what makes you guys remember them, okay? I'm going to stop sharing for a second. You probably know my cauliflower example. A lot of you are going, yep, Ari, I know it. I literally have people right now sending me selfies of them in grocery stores with cauliflower. It's a little weird, but it's funny. What I want you to know is when you retire early, you have an opportunity. You can go, this is amazing. Ari, you did it. Look at this. I paid taxes for so many years. All of a sudden now I don't have to pay that much in taxes. I love that. You did it. And they'll start shaking my hand and applauding. I'll say, I've done nothing. In fact, I want you to think about it differently. I want you to not like me this year. They're like, what do you mean? You're doing such a great job. I go, I don't want you to like me this year. I want you to love me over the next 30, 40 plus years. And here's how you're going to love me. The reason you're going to love me, and I don't say it like that, but the premise is I want you to pay a little bit in taxes or eat a little bit of cauliflower during these low income years. So in the future, your whole plate isn't cauliflower because that's what's going to happen. What's going to happen to this couple is if they don't do some of these Roth conversions, they're not going to be paying a lot of taxes. And in their 60s, they're going to be loving it. I didn't pay a lot of taxes. This was great. Oh my gosh, my investments grew. And then at 75, they're going to be going, Ari, why am I being forced to take out hundreds of thousands of dollars? Did you not listen to me? I don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'll go, no, guys, I heard you. The government doesn't care. They want their piece. And when they want it, they get it. And once they start it, they're not going to stop. And so they're going, well, these RMDs, that's a problem. Like, what do we do about this? I go, what I need you to do is eat a little bit of those vegetables during these low income years or when markets go down. Now, a lot of you know this story, but if you don't, check this out. I have a client that came to me, a couple actually, and they want to retire early right before COVID. Now, if they didn't have a tax strategy, it was not going to happen. But they were open to being dynamic. And so when markets went down 40% when COVID happened in their portfolio, they were licking their lips. They were like, I know that was weird, but they were licking their lips. And the reason for it is because when markets go down, what they did is they converted at that point. So all the growth is tax-free forever. Okay, check this out. Super simple. You buy Apple stock for $5. Okay, Apple stock goes to $10. You're going, okay, got it. Bought it for 5, went to 10. It's a $5 gain. Okay. Now, if you had Apple stock and it was worth $10 in your IRA, when you take the money out, you are paying taxes as if you just made more money. It's ordinary income. Okay, so $5 goes to $10. Now let's assume you do the same example, but it's also in your IRA, so nothing's changed except Apple stock you buy for $5. Now it goes down to $2. Okay, so you bought it for 5, it goes down to 2. Okay, now I know Apple stock's not worth $5 a share, but just humor me. So you buy it for 5, it goes down to 2. Now what happens is you do a Roth conversion, so it grows from 2 back to 10. Well, that $8 of gain in there, now imagine it's 800,000 if you bought it, using different numbers here. What you're going to see is, oh my gosh, well now that $5 that became $10 in your IRA, you're paying taxes as if you made more money on the $10 anytime you take the money out. But the Roth IRA example, because you did a conversion, you bought it for 5, it went down to 2, and it grew up to 10. That difference of 8, that's tax-free forever. So what's the premise of this story? The premise is this couple came to me. They retired early with confidence and they're spending more than they ever dreamt of. They want to spend $6,500 a month when they came to me. They're now spending $8,000 plus a month and they're in a better spot than when they came to me. It's because when markets went like this, they said, Ari, let's do a Roth conversion. I like that Apple analogy. So markets went like this. We did a conversion from their IRA to the Roth IRA. All the growth tax-free forever. So they said, we're happy to pay a little bit in taxes because it's never going to get taxed ever again. And they had children that they didn't want to get taxed on these dollars, unlike this couple. So hopefully that example resonated where you're doing a conversion when your income is low or when markets take a dive, because it's almost like you're getting a discount on those shares. That's how I want you to think about it. When you hear Roth conversion, I want you to think tax insurance. Now let's hop back in a few other things here. So for this couple, when we first spoke, I wanted to give them the absolute common early retirement mistakes that I do not want them to make. Now the good news is they received inheritance, and I have a funny advisor who's a friend of mine who says, when you receive inheritance, you're part of the lucky sperm and egg club, okay? So a little bit of a funny joke there, but that brokerage account, they already had $1 million in it, but now they have much more because they received inheritance. A common early retirement mistake is not having a superhero account. That's your brokerage account. It allows you to keep your income low. It's not taxed on the same schedule as an IRA, and you have the ability to tap into it. There's no income limit, so you can put as much as you'd like in. You just don't receive a tax benefit for it. So this is the number one early retirement mistake. It kind of goes with point number 4 here, which is that qualified rich cash poor. But let's just start on number 1. Number 2 is being scared of health insurance. A lot of people are coming to me and they're like, I've had health insurance through my employer. I don't know what I'm going to do when I don't have it, and they don't retire. This is not the reason not to retire. What you need to do is plan for it. So that's number 2. Number 3 is not implementing tax planning. You have to be ready. If markets take a turn, most people get really scared. You're not going to get scared because you watch early retirement content and you know what you need to do. And tell me in the comments below if this video has been helpful. Like, that's why I make all this content. So please let me know. But what I want you to have the ability to is to implement dynamic strategies as they make sense, just like that client story I just told you. So hopefully this is helpful. I want you to be ready if markets go down to do a Roth conversion. I want you to be ready to say, you know what, based off my pension and interest rates, I'm going to go retire because I'm going to actually take home more money before rates change. So being able to be dynamic and really working with markets as opposed to against them, it's going to be massive. It can add hundreds of thousands, if not millions, to your plan. Now, qualified rich cash poor, that's the concept that this couple was almost guilty of. If they didn't have a brokerage account and they didn't receive inheritance and everything was in a 401k and Roth IRA and IRA, they would not be able to retire early, meaning they'd have plenty of assets, their net worth would look great, but they'd have no way to tap into their account. So if they say, you know what, Ari, we planned on retiring at 63 and 61, but not anymore, we want to retire earlier because of XYZ. My feedback's sometimes too bad. Not to be mean, but that's the reality. I'm in no business of rosy pictures. And I want to make sure that they have enough assets to be able to bridge that gap. That's the gap that I need to make sure all my clients are thinking about. And then finally, ignoring taxing and harvesting. This is a wonderful concept that most people just overlook because they're not aware of it. Now, I am going to bring this up here, and I try to do things on the fly as much as I can. This here, I'm showing you guys, this is my important number sheet. So if you want to copy this, just leave a comment below and let me know if this would be helpful. This is for 2023. What this is saying is if you retire early and you have 0%, that's your filing status. Let me be clear, meaning let's assume you buy Apple stock. Okay, let's use a basic example. Let's assume you buy Apple stock for $10,000. Okay, now Apple stock grows to $100,000. That's a $90,000 gain. Pretty simple. Well, when that $90,000 gain gets realized, assuming you've held it for over a year, so long-term capital gain, you get to pay 0% taxes on the first $89,250. So back to our example. Apple stock you buy for $10,000 grows to $100,000 in your brokerage account. You could pay 0% taxes on the $89,250, and then $750, so $90,000 minus $750 gets you to the $89,250. The other $750 you pay 15% taxes on. So this is often overlooked, and as a strategy a lot of my clients use if they have a healthy gain in any of their positions or they're inheriting a healthy gain. What they'll do is they'll intentionally retire early, go realize this gain. It's the equivalent of paying 0% taxes on nearly $100,000, and this is excluding your standard deduction. So your standard deduction of $27,700 if you're married filing jointly is in addition to this. So you could add a lot of tax-free dollars and pay 0% in taxes. So let me know if this was helpful to see. Hopefully you're all able to take away that it's not rocket science. If you have $10 million plus of net worth, it doesn't mean that you're in an amazing spot. It depends how much you want to spend. I have some clients, and my joke for them, and they know this by now, they're characters, okay? I'm very close with my clients, but some of them, because I'm from Malibu, California, they want to spend a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes my feedback is, you want to spend $40,000 a month? Awesome. I need you to work 5 more years. They say, happy to do it. I love what I do. I'm never going to stop. Other clients are like, Ari, I hate what I do. Tell me how soon I can retire. I've got $1 million or $2 million. Make it happen. I say, great. Here's what I need you to do. So it just depends on the clients that are coming to me. Today, hopefully it was fun for you guys all to see. I know a little bit of a longer video, but I want to make content that's most helpful. So number one, I truly ask, please let me know if this was helpful. And if you want another type of case study, I have a single case study with $1 million I've done. I've done a $2 million case study. This is, of course, for clients that have a net worth of north of $10 million, how to just even think through it, because there's a lot to this. I didn't go into insurance and education and estate planning and the nuance, which I love going over, and you're going to see more videos of all of that. But today was that general summary. If you have 10 million bucks, don't leave anything on the table. Here are the different levers you can maneuver and think through. So hopefully this was helpful. Once again, please let me know in the comments if you want a custom strategy. This is all I do. I love helping people retire early with confidence. So go ahead and apply in the description, and I will see you guys all soon. Love you guys.